everybody. My name is Brian Finnerty. I'm a contributor here with Macabre Daily. Specifically, I'm the writer of our Skeletons in the Closet column, where we like to dig into everything inside the intersection of queerness and horror. And today, I am super excited to be joined by the lovely minds behind Alt Shift Films, Ed and Sam, whose
Right.
most recent feature film, Blowie, was just released on demand and on streaming on May 26th. So, hey, good morning, good afternoon for you two. How are
Yeah,
you?
good morning for you.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Yeah, we're good. We
Yeah.
are excited by the release, but feeling a little bit because it's America. We haven't released in UK yet,
Okay.
so we're disconnected other than reading people's comments.
When does the UK release happen?
We are releasing a DVD, if you can believe it. People still buy those in a week, two
On the
weeks,
8th of June, the DVD releases over here, and
in a
Oh,
then
week.
some cinema screenings and streaming later in the year.
oh, fantastic. Cool. So I have to say before we jump into anything, I when we were emailing, like I was just focused on the logistics of what days and times work, but and I didn't even realize until this morning that we were meeting on the first day of Pride Month. So
Yes.
happy Pride to
Oh,
Happy
happy
you.
Pride.
Pride!
Yeah, it is.
And I was excited because it's like I never get a professional opportunity to wear shirts like this. So it was
It's a great shirt.
perfect opportunity to pull out my Pride Demon shirt.
Yeah, beautiful.
Do you all have any plans for Pride over in London?
We're actually coming back from a shoot on that day
Mm,
for our actual Pride Day in London, but I'll probably end up going out in the evening.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, every day's Pride Day for me.
exactly. Now, if Ed's background didn't give it away, we're obviously talking about your new movie, and I just am in love with that mask. It's before I knew anything about your movie, I saw that picture, and I think like sight unseen, I was emailing my editor Matt. I'm like, who's covering this? I have to cover it. I want to do something about this movie. But yeah, can you let's start off just by can you tell us what Blowy is about?
I mean, go on, Ed. You go.
Rude. Well, I mean, okay, it's about a group of sex workers, like porn performers,
Mm.
who rent a spooky old mansion in the middle of nowhere to shoot like content. And an accident happens, one of them dies, and then they get stalked by Blowie, the doll-faced killer.
Who's
Absolutely.
essentially a sort of humanoid blow up doll.
Meet meet
Yeah,
Blowy.
yeah. In the hope that it's going to be the new gay Michael Myers, or although Michael Myers is kind of gay.
He's really gay.
I mean, at Macabre Daily and Skeletons of the Closet, where we pretty much believe that every slasher is gay. So,
So true.
Yeah.
Like the next one, really, we felt bad about killing the queers because we'd prefer it if it was like gay serial killer killing all the straight people
Mhm.
for a change.
Um, but also like when your movie is and you obviously didn't go out of the way in the movie to like specifically identify everybody's orientation and whatnot, but when your entire cast is queer, I think you can get away with killing a few of them, right?
Yeah, and we've worked with that cast for kind of 8 years, so they
Hmm.
knew us well enough to let us kill them in really silly ways.
And then like obviously this comes up in all the material, but one of the things that makes this film maybe stand out or a little bit more unique is that correct me if I'm wrong, but the entire cast is are all adult film actors, right? And they're all playing
They are.
themselves or a fictionalized version of themselves anyway.
Yeah,
I
very
think,
much a fictionalized version of themselves, but they're all porn performers. They all work for studios and do their own content as well. They've been in that world for a long time, and they
Hmm.
can bring something that we thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, and we worked because we've been making porn for years, and so we worked with all of them for a long time.
Hmm.
And that was really our. We didn't really overthink that. Like we had nothing to say about the porn industry. We just like working with these performers.
Hmm.
So anything we do, we always work with at least some uh, sex workers.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they're all really interested in acting as well, you know. So, and as you can see, they can act, which
Oh, they're all really good at
is
it.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Even as I was formulating that question out loud, I was referring to it as like something that makes the movie unique. But I guess I almost want to interrogate that. I'm curious for your thoughts. Should we be saying that this movie is unique because the cast is made up of porn actors? Does that in fact make it unique? Or like does
I
that
think
say more
it's
about us that we are calling that unique?
I think there's a what's the word I'm looking for? Society thinks that porn has really bad acting, right?
Mhm.
People think porn is, "Hi, I'm come here to fix your washing machine."
Yeah.
And we've worked with a lot of people who are actually, you know, really great actors. They love performing, and performance for them is acting and sex and all of it. And I think that shows in the film. So yeah, I don't. I've lost my train of thought. Ed.
I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, it is kind of a new, unique prospect because, like, apart from Bruce LaBruce or a few other, not really that many people who are making uh, porn adjacent or movies with porn performers where its primary purpose perhaps is not porn. But
Hmm.
for us, uh, it's yeah, like Sam says, like performance, like if they when they're just fucking on camera,
Hmm.
that still has a performative aspect, right? Like
Yeah.
how you respond to the camera and how the camera responds to you is what we've always been interested in screen performance anyway. So the acting bit about like getting into another character or something is something else, but what we really care about is whether you have charisma on screen.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like believability and all that sort of stuff is I think second for us. And also we like to work with people who we like just as a selfish thing.
And we also like to talk about sexuality in all its forms and to really show people who are comfortable with their sexuality. Working with porn performers meant that we could shoot real fucking in this film. Even though you only see a glimpse of it, we did shoot, you know, full sex scenes.
Yeah, which was like a fascinating as someone who like mostly consumes more like traditional or mainstream movies where it's all simulated sex. That was something I found myself thinking about while I was watching is like it almost feels arbitrary when you really start to talk about it. Like, why do we have this taboo in our society about you can show wildly explicit sex in movies, but it has to be quote unquote simulated, right? As soon as it
Yeah.
becomes real, it turns into something else.
But
Well,
it's not real, right? The minute you put a camera in
Hmm.
front of somebody, that's the thing that I think consumers need to understand.
Hmm.
Everything that is in front of a camera is performative, whether you're acting, whether you're killing somebody, whether you're fucking.
Yeah.
I
What
mean
makes
it
something real?
it is an act. Well, the penis goes into the asshole. That
Yes.
makes it more real than some things. But I
Hmm.
suppose
Yeah.
it's as real as an actor crying. Like those tears are, well,
Yeah,
sometimes real.
that's a fantastic example of it.
You
Like
know,
there's actually water coming out of their eyes. Like,
yeah. The answer to why is it a taboo is simply why sex is still a taboo in
mhm.
society, right? The act itself is still all wrapped up in
Shame.
heteronormative ideas of monogamy and romantic love and possession of another person and all those things. So, of course, like it's the opposite of sexual liberation.
Mhm.
And so the act itself is somehow seen as like this extreme thing that you should preserve for certain encounters, certain people, certain situations. Whereas Sam and me obviously believe that sex should be done everywhere with everyone all at once.
I think that's a film already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think. No, I've lost it.
Yeah, Yeah, it's fascinating topics, and like I was almost struggling to come up with interview questions for the two of you because my mind was just going like all over the place. I'm like, do I want to ask about the plot? Do I want to ask about the actors? Do I want to just have a philosophical conversation about sex and its role in our society?
Yep.
Um, we could probably do a whole series of these talks.
Yeah,
Um,
but those things are all wrapped up in the same thing, right? Because uh,
mhm,
it all comes from us. I mean, we're filmmakers first and foremost, but we
mhm,
primarily make porn,
yeah.
and that's for us a filmmaking genre. It has a different sort of space in the world than like a cinematic release or sitting there
Mhm,
on a Friday night entertaining yourself, but it still uses cinematic language, film language
mhm.
to create a response. So that's always our first starting point. So as soon as we just said, "Oh, let's just make a feature movie," it wasn't even a question that we would just make it with the people we work with all the time
Mhm.
about the world that we live in all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Sam's clocked off.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm here.
it's like,
Can you hear me?
oh,
She's really prudish about sex, so she whenever it gets a bit raw,
I could tell. I
off to
could
the
tell you were
front
making
end.
her a little uncomfortable. Things were getting a
Yeah,
bit too steamy. Um,
Terrible.
welcome back, Sam.
And I'm back. Hi, sorry.
That's okay. Um,
Technical difficulties. Yeah, I
yeah,
think one thing I wanted to say is, when we watch horror films, we watch some really horrific stuff. And what
hmm
is, and there are people talking about Blowie already being like, oh my god, I saw a cum shot, I saw a penis go into an ass. Like, in the way that it's the most shocking thing they've ever seen. I've
Yeah.
seen horrific things in horror that I would say are way, way more horrible.
Oh, I mean,
Obviously,
have either
that's
of you
not
seen,
horrible.
like, to think of something recent, have either of you seen Obsession yet?
No, I've heard
no,
a lot
not
about
yet.
it. Yeah.
No. I
It
mean, I
only
won't
just
give.
got released here.
Okay, I won't give anything away, but there is a scene of like shocking violence in that movie that is, I mean, it's being praised across the board as it should. It's an incredible piece of just like whatever you think of the movie, that scene is incredible. But yeah, it's a perfect example of what you're talking about. It is the most gruesome of gruesome things. Um, and then you're gonna have other people over here crying about a cum shot or crying
Oh
about
no, a cum shot, but
like,
that
oh
guy
my
just
God,
got
like
stabbed in the eye. That's
full
fine.
Well, you
full
know
full
that
frontal male nudity, like that's
yeah,
that's that's a bit too far.
people are really uptight. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Hmm
That the boomer generation somehow uh, made some inroads into sexual liberation,
hmm
but it doesn't seem to have gone anywhere because people seem to be really uptight. I mean, more than
Well, hopefully not the target audience of our film. So
well, that's always the interesting thing, right? Because you sell it as a slasher with porn performance and it sounds titillating.
hmm
But for us, the porn element is never being titillating,
hmm
maybe because it's our job, but also maybe just because, yeah, no, probably because it is our job and we see so much
no,
sex
but
that
in this film,
it,
it's not porn. We
it
weren't
all,
trying to titillate.
Yeah, you were showing the behind the scenes of it more than
yeah, but
anything,
Yeah,
really.
we could have easily gone down the route. We still could have made it in the same way, but made the porn aspect of it titillating.
Hmm
But it didn't really interest us because I mean every porn movie is like that anyway, sort of
hmm
overly sexual. Well, most, especially slasher films, that we kind of wanted to show a little bit of yeah, just what it's like to
I think
make
that's the thing that came
sexual
out of
content
it
in the
is how
camera.
much behind the scenes we
hmm
got out of it of actually because we're so used to being on sets. But some of the people we showed it to first were like, "That's so interesting!" Like they're just hanging out, they're laughing in between, they're getting a drink. I think that was it's so normal
Yeah.
to us after
Those were
14 years.
like those were some of my favorite parts of the movie, honestly. It was just these little glimpses of behind the scenes, just a world that somebody like myself or a lot of your audience probably hasn't gotten a peek into that feels initially it feels shocking to some of the audience. You know, we're watching these two characters just have a conversation while one of them is douching. Or one of my favorite bits was when Callie is giving a tour to the new guy
Oh
and she's
yeah,
just going over the rules. Like, please, please don't come on the curtains. Don't use this kind of lube on certain types of furniture. Um,
Yeah, I mean, all these things, it's really our day-to-day job. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
written as we talk and as we are.
but
mhm,
I also think that all that's behind the scenes stuff is like that's what our sets feel like when
mm,
we're making porn. I don't think that's what most porn sets always feel like,
mm,
and certainly I don't think that's how they're depicted generally in movies that you see that are about the porn industry. You don't generally see that matter of fact. You tend to see, I mean, most people think that it's either really glamorous that I've got a camera in my hand and a massive hard on, and Sam is racking up lines of coke in the corner, and we're by a, and then we all jump in the pool after we've done an hour's work.
Wait, that's not what a typical day is like, Sam?
Sadly not.
No, that is what a day's like. That's what I'm saying. But we know.
Uh,
I mean, it's just it's not like that for us. Um,
mm,
Not that it's not fun, but it doesn't have all of this weight to it. I think we just consider
mm,
sex and sexuality a little bit more matter-of-factly because it's we're lucky enough that it's our job to explore sexuality and it's also our interest in the world. So we're
yeah.
really lucky that those things have married. So I think in a way it's we're quite lucky that it's matter of fact for us.
Absolutely. If I could, I'd love to kind of backtrack a little bit and just to like get to know the two of you and alt shift a little bit better. This is obviously being marketed as like a horror film. A lot of your history is in making more porno like straight up pornography, right? Where did have you always been horror fans, or was this something, is this kind of a new endeavor for the two of you?
I think we started working together 14 years ago
Okay.
doing porn. We started Alt Shift about 7, 8 years ago to
Okay.
do, we were filmmakers before that. We've always been filmmakers. We've always
Mm.
approached porn from a filmmaking point of view. Ed released a feature how many years ago, Ed?
20 years ago, because I'm just
20.
finishing the
It's the
director's
anniversary.
cut.
Yeah.
I'm re-releasing Tan Lines.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
we came into porn from film.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, I think then we realized we're both horror fans as well.
No,
And
we're
we were
definitely
like,
horror fans.
we're going to make
That
our first feature. What are we going to make? And it was not really ever a discussion. We were always going to make horror as our
It,
first
it
feature.
had to be horror.
It
Yeah.
had to be horror.
We do always like to ask people kind of their horror origin story. Do you have any early memories of like when you first started to enjoy the genre or when you first fell in love with it?
I think
yeah.
seeing Evil Dead 2 in the 80s for me.
Mm.
And then a little bit later, Scream really cemented my love for horror. But yeah, all of it. I remember just being a kid, and I think on Channel 4 over here on Friday nights, late,
Mm.
there was always a horror
Mo
movie.
Movie
And I
Drone.
remember, what was it?
Movie Drone used to be a series here.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Okay.
Do you know Alex Cox, the director? No, is that Alex
Not by
Cox?
name, but I'm notoriously terrible with
Who made
Yeah,
names.
same.
Sid and Nancy
Oh, okay.
and those movies. Anyway, he used to host a cult movie series.
Fantastic. Yep.
Uh, but Sam, yeah, Sam is very comes very much more from the comedy horror.
Mm.
I don't.
You do,
Maybe.
you absolutely do. She doesn't like serious. She doesn't like serious horrors where because she says she doesn't get scared. Horrors don't frighten her. Whereas I came much more from like seeing Hellraiser when I was like 7.
I love Hellraiser.
Uh,
Don't let him give you too much of a hard time, Sam. You're a hardcore horror fan, I can tell.
no, she's hardcore. It's just that I think it's sensibility more
Mm.
that I was always more into like creepy things that make you feel really uncomfortable.
Mm.
Like Scream completely changed my life, of course, because nothing has married like comedy and horror like that because
Yeah.
it's still brutally scary. And to do that and still have laughs and that sort of fun teen movie feeling is
And the
incredible.
soundtrack, I think, like, it was the first time I'd really,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, experienced like a more poppy soundtrack in horror.
Yeah.
Like there's just everything about it kind of reinvigorated horror for me.
When
Yeah,
talking
but
about horror making you uncomfortable, I feel like that is somewhere where horror and porn overlap. Is like they're both genres that have the like they put very real things, sometimes elevated and extreme, but they put very real concepts in front of their audiences that are designed to like because of certain taboos and fears that we have, they potentially make us uncomfortable. They push us out of our comfort zone and
yeah, and they have this sort of Freudian element to it. Well, maybe more Jungian about it's a sort of safe place where people discover their desires and their fears
mhm.
and shit like that. And I think that is a very much a crossover between the two genres.
And I think horror for me, watching especially the stuff in the 80s, always had sex in it. There was always
Oh yeah.
tits. There was
Yeah.
always tits in horror. Like,
No, I
you know,
like for me one of the sexiest films when I was a kid watching American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
I recorded it off the TV, but I missed the first bit where they actually get. I only ever had it
Where they
because I
get
set the
attacked and
recorder because I had
mauled.
to go to school. I only had it when he woke up in the hospital in London. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I missed that whole beginning bit. And him and Jenny Agutter is still like defining sexual moments for me.
Oh
But
yeah.
that goes to like when I was like, yeah, I probably saw that movie when I was 8 years old. I didn't get that actually, if you watch it as an adult, that movie is quite camp and it's basically a comedy. But to this 8 year old, I didn't see this comedy. To me, it was like this psychosexual, really creepy, and it's got this sort of grey London in the late 70s, early 80s atmosphere. And
Mhm.
that sense of sort of dread and sexuality and creepiness. Hellraiser is a great example as well, which is overtly sexual. That really, I think, I
but
hate
there
to
just
say
hasn't been that much queer horror like growing
Mhm.
up. There definitely wasn't. It was always really straight horror
Yes.
for me.
And that was where you saw most of the nudity was in your more traditional slashers, where it
Yeah,
was just yeah, the jock and the cheerleader having sex. She pulls her
yeah.
shirt off, and boom.
And
yeah,
they'd have sex for 4 minutes. You'd see
Yes.
10 seconds of it. He'd
And then
come, she
immediately get
wouldn't.
killed.
Usual.
Uh, you were you're talking about like seeing so much nudity and horror, and I mentioned that we were recording a podcast this weekend, and that was one of the things we actually talked about. It was me and a bunch of queer authors, and we were talking about how for some of us, especially when we were younger, very insecure, I can only speak for myself. I was too terrified to seek out explicit sexual stuff online. Like I was not watching porn when I was little because God forbid somebody would find my search history or catch me. But we talked about horror being one of those genres where it's a more normalized place where you can still see nudity. Um, and I think a lot of young people like have those formative memories, like you were talking about the sex scene in the shower in American Werewolf in London, where it was like
yeah.
for some of us, this was the first time we ever saw someone have sex or saw people get naked. And
Yeah. I mean, I was actually also watching hardcore porn at the same age. So
I
in a
was wondering if
way,
you two might be
yeah,
have a
in a
different
way,
experience
I
than
was
me.
lucky. But
I
also,
don't know. I think my first wank might have been over horror. Couldn't tell you which one it was.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an age thing, you know. I'm a pre-internet, of an age of pre-internet. So, our porn was, someone in school has a magazine or a VHS tape. That was always me. And then I lent it out to everyone, which made me really
See,
popular.
I say I'm old enough to have had that experience, but I was just too chicken shit. Like I was the kid who was instead skulking around the department store, just sneaking peeks at like the packages of
Yeah,
boxers and
right.
underwear.
But there's a lot to be said for that, right? That
Mhm.
because you develop a much more mysterious, interesting sexuality by catching glimpses of it. I think in some ways, if you see like the physical act too graphically too early on, I think it can be useful just so you know how it goes. But
Mhm.
I think that it does somehow lose some of that mystery and some of that excitement. Like when you watch movies that you don't really know where it's going in. I remember seeing movies before I saw hardcore porn, but kind of like they were explicit because you saw the guy's ass going like up and down on the woman.
Hmm.
But for so long, I thought like, oh, it's just going like straight down into her belly button or something, or what the, you know, because I didn't know where the hole was. Because you can't really tell if you're just seeing the bum go like this.
It
You
is.
can't really
It's a
tell where the hole
fantastic
is.
point. Like the way all these movies cut away, right? Or only show like you can see people moving under a blanket. But
But they still
we
do. What
yeah.
about fucking Call Me by Your Name? And he fucking
Uh,
pans up to the window, and everyone
yeah.
fucking loves this. I'm like, what decade is this? I mean, I'm sure that he thought he was doing an homage to some other films where you used to pan away,
Mm,
or playing with the cliche or something. But fuck that, because like, if you're not gonna get these two guys to get their cocks and asses out, then hire some gay guys. Sorry,
yeah.
but that call
No,
me
I
Yeah,
by
love
don't
your
it.
name.
don't rant about it. This will go on for a while otherwise.
Yeah, we appreciate a soapbox here. But I do hear what you mean. Like I've never necessarily thought about it this explicitly, but it's almost like a public health issue because we package it as we're protecting people and we're keeping people's whatever purity and whatnot, but really what you're doing is you're setting people up to have this vague concept of what sex is, but not actually know how to actually do it.
Yeah,
Um, you
We're
know,
just sanitizing, life experience, like by not showing everything except sex. Sex is this thing that stays behind closed doors, and even in films, it's the thing where you pan up to the ceiling when they're fucking.
yeah,
But when they're being shot or taking
yeah,
drugs
yeah.
or all these other things,
You
that's
see the
fine to
head
show.
exploding.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always been a problem for me that there's this really hard line between sex and everything else in human existence that can be shown on film.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I saw you did that with Blowie a little bit too, like trying to I don't even know if I want to say sneak it in. I think it's just built into the DNA of your work, just putting in moments like it was Caden's character on several occasions talking about like you equals you,
Yeah.
right? Which is for anyone listening, that's undetectable equals untransmittable, correct?
Exactly
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, Caden's been a massive advocate for U equals U and HIV rights and things, and we just didn't want to hammer it into people's faces. We just wanted it to be part of the story.
And honestly, we like it's kind of like a slight tease, okay, then.
Yeah.
Uh, but
for that one moment that I won't give away.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
very much appreciated that. I
no,
laughed.
we shot Caden's first bareback uh porn video because
Hmm.
he made a whole sort of campaign around the first bareback in order to promote U equals U and show people that it's a safe thing to do. And so we made a sort of drama porns on this
Yeah.
subject. So it's really important. But that and sex worker rights and all those sort of other
Hmm.
messages that are in the movie.
And just
Yeah,
part of the performers as well, Callie, the speech that she does where she's sitting in front is one of her actual, talks that she does. We didn't have to write
Okay.
that. She just did one of her talks.
yeah.
And
Gotcha.
some of the content that they're doing, we're like, what have you done recently? Let's just put that in.
That's fascinating. I was after I watched the movie, I was on your website and I was looking at some of the biographies for some of the actors and specifically Kaden, Bishop, and Callie. And those two things that you've already mentioned, Caden's series, what do you call it? You equals fucking you, right?
Yeah, that's the one we shot with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
UEFU.
and
Yeah.
Bishop's biography talked about how important ethical and feminist pornography is to him, and it like very little of this was really explicitly talked about in your movie, but it's those kind of things that I love reading behind the scenes stuff about the actors, the filmmakers, the movie. And you start to go back over the movie again and realize like, oh yeah, this it was a fun movie, but it also like underneath there's some cool topics that they're touching on and encouraging people to think about.
Well, we tried really hard not to teach anyone anything, but it just comes out naturally because it's just the world we're in, right?
Uh,
Because we just love sex workers and we work in this field and it's just our world. So
mhm.
I think like to be
it's a serendipitous bonus that we're teaching people something
Yeah.
through a film that
Yeah.
predominantly is about a blow up doll killer. So,
And that's what I've always loved about horror too. I say that all the time. Horror is a genre that, there's two ways to enjoy it. You can just go eat your popcorn, love it, have fun. Pornography is probably the same. You can sit there and just, you know, have a wank, enjoy it, get off. Or if you are inclined to, and like we're not going to force anyone to do this, but if you're inclined to, you can look deeper at these subjects too.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah, it comes back to what we were talking about earlier about being confronted. Like
mhm.
most people don't actually want to be confronted with their inner psyches or their shadow selves or something, which
Yeah.
is totally fine. You can't go about your business every day being confronted by your shadow self. But the offer is there, right, in horror movies, usually, to go, why do I find this creepy? Why do I find this scary? What is it about me and the world that I'm playing out here?
Mhm.
And why am I looking for that experience?
Yes. And people are like inclined to do that with horror. I think people are less inclined to do it with sex in this
Oh,
day and age. Like
they hate it.
it makes us so uncomfortable. Well, some of us, not all of us, but it makes many people uncomfortable. But for most of us, we never really interrogate that. We don't ask. We just close our eyes, we turn it off, we say, oh, that was inappropriate. But we never get curious about, oh, well, why are you labeling that inappropriate? Why did that make you uncomfortable? Why don't you want your kid to see that, but
Yeah.
they can turn on a movie and watch, some action hero gun down 50
yep,
anonymous people?
Yeah, or you watch James Bond, like this beautiful misogyny that we celebrate with him. Uh, but like the hardcore porn that Sam and me make, which has like connection in it and is about specific sexuality and about sexual liberation and all this stuff. This is taboo. This is shut down by governments. This can't be seen by anyone. But but it's fine to see Bond fuck a woman in the shower, then she gets murdered because she fucked a spy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
fine. You can't say two consenting adults can't take pleasure from each other.
No, definitely not.
Mad.
So I know, and I'm loving the deeper conversation, but I also want to recognize that you also just made a fun movie. Was it? I don't know that I really have like a deep question here, but like, did you have fun making this movie? Was it a good time?
it was incredibly hard, amazing time.
Yeah.
You know, big thanks to the actors and the crew because we were a small crew and a small cast, and everyone put all of themselves into that film. We worked really hard, and everyone did a lot of jobs and had a lot of hats. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. We only had one argument.
We had our first argument.
We had our first ever
You
argument
you
in
two?
in
Yeah.
14 years.
Ooh. Are we
It
gonna get?
lasted about 1 minute until our sound man told us to stop it and have a hug. But that's the great thing when you work with people for so long, you'll know each other. You give each other space creatively, but also just physical space when you need it.
Mhm.
Um,
Sure.
and yeah, everyone was incredible. Did you have fun, Ed?
You know what? I don't think I did really, but well, it's fun in some way,
He's
right?
still thinking about that fight.
Yeah, no, like it's really intense.
Hmm.
I think both of us love to be on film sets more than anything, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just the environment we like. We love to be making stuff. But obviously, um, with no money and no time,
Mhm.
it's also very stressful. And
yeah,
like we're idiotic to think like all of the sex stuff, and obviously we had time to do, but then we put some quite not difficult, but like the deaths uh, are not the simplest deaths we could have done.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that sort of thing,
I've
when
got
we're
rose tinted glasses for it. Yeah,
yeah, I remember just like you're so
it was
stressed,
hard.
I imagine it's
nighttime,
easy to come
everyone's
up with the
exhausted.
idea of just, oh, this would look cool, let's do this. And then you try to actually make it happen in front of a
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely, we had to think on our feet while we were there, change things up.
Hmm.
We not shot horror before. We like, how do we do this? We had a lot of practice things with killing things in my living room, mostly.
yeah.
we, we'd never used a vac bed before. We were practicing that in my living room.
Okay.
All
That
these things.
was like I don't I won't give it away. You can if you're okay with it, but the kind of the instigating event, the tragic accident, that was the most anxiety producing moment in the movie for me. I was cringing.
Have you
Um
never been in a back bed, Ryan?
I have not
Oh,
yet.
you know,
I've
I hadn't
not
been until Sam and me both
No, neither of
tried it
us had
out.
tried it before.
had
It's not, I don't like it.
No, I
no.
don't like it.
Did
It's not
was
my
that
thing.
always your idea for what was going to set off the chain events of this movie, or did it go through other? Did you come up with all sorts of other like tragic ways somebody could die on a porn
We
set?
we definitely did think about different things, but I
Mhm.
think we'd seen some images of. I mean, I'm in the kink scene in London. I know about back beds. I'd just never been in one, and I was just like, "This is a cool image. Can we
Yeah,
work out how we use one of these things in our film?" Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
very
I'm sure
striking.
it was. So we, it's been a while since we did this.
Mm.
Um, so trying to remember back.
No, but generally most of our decision making comes from things like that, right? We see something and we're like, oh, a back bed, that's cool and cheap. So it's a cool image and it's cheap and it's about sex. So let's stick it in.
Yeah,
That's that's generally how we operate.
I mean, not
Yeah.
that cheap.
No, it wasn't. It was probably
It's the most expensive thing in that
it
movie.
was the most and it was
And
already
did
second
it come
hand,
out
right?
the other side in one piece, or did you destroy it?
We had to burn it.
That was real at the
That
end.
was
Yeah.
real,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
No, I thought you patched it up and sold it,
I
didn't
have
you?
sold it. We burned it right at the top, so it's still
Oh
usable.
yeah. So we still
Yeah.
sold it.
Mm.
Yeah, we made a bit of money back.
Yeah,
There you go.
genuine blowy prop selling
There,
just to one of
there,
my friends.
I am sure there's a market for that out there.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, we shot in Wales in an awesome location, which I think we really lucked out on. We'd done a porn shoot there, and we just came back to them. We're like, look, it's out of season. Can you help us out? And they knew us, so. And the same with the crew, people we'd shot with for a long time. We're like, can you come on board? Can you help us do this thing?
sure.
Yeah, so we couldn't have done it without a lot of people who really believed in us.
Mm. One thing I was wondering watching is just from a filmmaking perspective, um, what's the difference, and maybe from the actors' perspectives too, if you have any perspective on it, is like what's the difference between shooting a death scene and a sex scene?
Well, for us, we like to give the performers a lot of freedom when we do sex scenes.
Hmm.
We talk to them, obviously, beforehand. We sit down, talk about boundaries, talk about the vibe of the scene, talk about where the lights are, where the camera's going to be. But once they're in it, if you want a true connection with two human beings, the best thing you can do is hopefully get them to forget that everyone's around them. So
Hmm.
for us, that's a sex scene. Leave them to it, and then the deaths were obviously meticulously shot listed and planned out of like what order do we've only got two sets of this shirt, so once we've got blood on this shirt we're fucked, we can't go backwards from there, so we meticulously planned out the order for those, so and actually they couldn't be more
Yeah,
the two
poles
separate
apart.
things.
Absolutely.
And those death scenes are the only things we working together we've ever planned. We don't really plan anything, which is
It's
also
Yeah.
the
why
only
the
thing we've
shoots
ever
kind of
shot. It's the only thing ever done storyboards for.
yeah,
Okay.
which you did because I refused to
You
do.
refuse to do storyboards.
I've never done a shot list or a storyboard in my life. They
We
made me
direct in
I
a
really,
like
very
the yin and
specifically
yang of
free
you two.
way.
yeah, they made me a bit sick, the idea of
Seems like the
pre-planning
two of
something.
you balance each other out pretty well.
Yeah. I'm,
Yeah.
yeah. But when we act, like, I'm very organized with the planning and the scheduling and sometimes storyboarding if it's needed because I think we've only got that many shirts. But when it actually comes to directing, we're really similar in the way that we collaborate and direct.
But I
Sure.
think Sam creates this container that we can be loose and make it up as we go along
Hmm.
because it's well organized. Like you can't really, just in terms of practicalities, it's all well and good just to say, oh, we're just going to wing it and be loose and have fun. But without the container of
You
actual
can only do that
organization,
with a really strict schedule.
exactly that, because also it's not fair on performers. People need to know what they're going to do at what time.
Hmm.
But
And when they're
because
getting fed and what they're
yeah,
doing.
yeah, but because Sam's so organized and sort of wanks over spreadsheets, It allows us to be totally like free form when
That's my kink.
when we're actually shooting. And then it also allows just to go with the vibe rather than trying to force
Yeah, I think
people.
sometimes you get the best performance when you let people do what they want to do within the container that you've given them.
I'm
Like we
sure
really
that's where
like to
like
shoot like that.
yeah, fun surprises happen there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're so rigid in your idea of what this thing's going to look like at the end, then I think, especially with the kind of budgets we're working with, you're never going to be happy. But if you can go with the flow and you can be, able to change on a dime and change things and work with the environment, the people, whatever's going on, like that's our biggest strength, I think, is just shit's always going to hit the fan, and shit
Yeah.
always does hit the fan. But we clean it up nicely and make it into a movie.
Had any of your actors ever been in a horror film before, or was this really kind of outside the box for them?
I think Bishop, they said they'd done something horror-y before.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bishop's got the most experience in acting in
like other
um,
genres.
other genres. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I don't know if you consider The Visitor a horror film. There's some horrific moments in it.
Oh,
Uh,
is he in Visitor?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize. Our
yeah, yeah.
editor Matt covered that. He loved it. I
They're
hadn't seen it.
non-binary, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay.
right. We should,
There.
yeah, we should have told you the cast's pronouns.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Thank you.
I probably just misgendered him, so but them as well. Yes,
So
brilliant.
check out Bishop in the Visitor. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
Uh,
Caden has always been really interested in acting. They've taken some classes.
Hmm.
They, that was one of the reasons that we really wanted to cast them. I mean, all of them, Clark, Callie, Leander, and Gabriel, just all were so game for everything we threw at them in a nice way.
Yeah, for sure. And so, where did the design for Blowie come from? That was
I
so striking.
we sat down and we talked about this horror, and obviously we knew we were going to shoot it with porn performers. We sort of had this idea, but we went back and forward with the idea of actually having a killer or not, or whether it was going to be more supernatural. And I think we were like, this world is all about social media. If we say we're making a film with porn performers and we have this image of a blow up doll who's walking around killing people, that's going to get some traction, hopefully. And it has. And I think, yeah, that was where it started. And
Not that
then
we're
after that,
cynical,
no,
not that we're cynical money grabbers. That's not
no,
at all what Sam's saying.
no. But you have to get people's attention. You
You're
have to.
yeah,
Like,
and you're allowed to want to make a little bit of
yeah,
money. We're not gonna demonize
we're not.
that here.
I think once you settle on that you want it that it's going to be like a slasher,
Hmm.
right? Even though it really comes quite late in the movie. Once you're going to have that stalking thing, then of course you have to think about what is the iconography of
Yeah.
that slasher, right? And because it's about sex. But I'm pretty sure you just found a mask, didn't you? And we're like, that is fucking creepy.
Yeah.
It's really as simple as that.
Yeah, I really think we found this mask, and I was like,
Yeah. But that's how Michael Myers came about, right? You're like,
yeah.
okay, if they're going to wear a mask, you look at some masks and you're like, that is really
And you
there's something
just
about this real
paint
creepy.
Patrick Stewart space white. Patrick Stewart? That's the wrong name, isn't it?
Yeah,
No,
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk,
it was the
the
one
Star
before
Trek guy.
Patrick
It's Patrick
Stewart.
Stewart, right?
Uh,
No, Patrick Stewart was the one after that.
oh, yeah, Patrick
Oh,
Stewart's the bald one. Anyway, can't remember his name.
I'm not a Trekkie,
No.
No.
and I just lost my
Yeah.
horror credentials by not knowing the actor. But what are you gonna
I
do?
think we just wanted something that looked creepy and cool and funny and was sexual and it worked.
Yeah, they
Well,
sure did.
because I think my favorite scene is when Caden is fucking Clark's mouth where he's got the blowy mask on.
Literally the picture behind you.
Because yeah, I find that actually the creepiest scene because it's also really hot
Hmm.
I
and
mean, they were like, this is weird when they were shooting that one. I
yeah,
think
they
that was one
found
of
it.
the first things we did with the mask as well.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it interesting. Again, finding that tension, but between like this is uncomfortable, maybe it's a little sexy, it's scary. Am I scared? Am I turned on? Like, that's
And
where fun stuff
it's kind
happens.
of funny. Like I don't, he's not. He's
Yeah.
kind of creepy, but he's not the scariest of
I mean,
monsters.
we weren't taking the whole thing, uber seriously. I think that shows in the film,
Hmm.
in a like an intentional way. I don't
Hmm.
think horror. I mean, I know you love really creepy horror, but wasn't what we were going for here.
No,
More
no, exactly.
comedy horror.
So
Yeah.
would the two of you make another horror movie?
Well, we've just shot a not a horror movie, more of a slackers kind of
Like a
vibe, day in the life of queer men.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're cutting that now, which also
We
has
have,
Caden in it and Clark
yeah, and we do have,
and Gabriel. Sorry,
yeah. Are they all in
no,
it?
just
You're
those two.
No,
if Mike Flanagan can use the same cast and Tim
Yeah,
Burton can use the same cast in all their
yeah.
movies,
it's
Kevin
our
Smith.
stable.
we all need our muses.
But yeah, we'd love to shoot another horror. We had an idea for a more supernatural type one that we
Hmm.
started writing, but
Yeah,
then we just, yeah.
I'm sure we'll make more horror. I mean, I think it's the genre that you can have most fun with.
Yeah.
Blowie 2 takes Manhattan.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
It's an unpopular opinion, but Jason Takes Manhattan is like one of my favorites. I grew up with that movie and I will always love it.
I noticed the cube behind you when you moved your head. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
good eye. I always appreciate
Yeah,
someone who recognizes Cube.
love that film.
Um, so I think in terms of just last questions, I guess I just want to ask again about we've kind of this conversation has gone in like serious and community activist sort of ways, talking about the philosophy of porn. We've talked about just the fun of making a movie. I guess I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on your intention going into making this movie. Did did you want it to jumpstart some like real and important questions around sex, or is that just kind of a fun added bonus?
I think we always want to provoke questions about sex.
Hmm.
It's sort of our thing
Yeah.
that everything we do really is. I think we're just firm believers in like the more liberated people are sexually, the better the world becomes, just through
Hmm.
our own personal journeys. That the more you discover your desires and ask for them and experience them,
Hmm.
the less you hate people, the more connected you are with people. Like if everyone fucked more, we would never have any wars, right? If they, well, certainly if they fucked in the ways they wanted to.
You're here.
Yeah, and so I think that it doesn't have to be a serious conversation because sex shouldn't necessarily be serious.
Hmm.
But I think definitely we're interested in provoking those ideas. But more importantly, I think it's about sex workers and about how taboo sex work is and how um, underappreciated and persecuted sex workers are, more and more so at the moment. And people trying to make their living from something that the majority of people consume,
Hmm.
even if they do it secretly and shamefully, and then turn around and try and make life dangerous for sex workers
Hmm.
and try and uh, make it difficult to earn a living.
Hmm.
That's really what we care about.
Absolutely. Those are
Yeah.
such important messages, and I love it. Would it be right in thinking that's sort of the general philosophy behind alt shift films for the two of you, if you have it almost a
Absolutely.
mission statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's always performer led to us.
Hmm.
So, I mean, most of the when we're in control of the porn and the non-porn we're shooting, so much of it comes from the performers.
Yeah.
You know, we want them to have agency. We want them to express themselves. We want them to have great experiences. Number
And
one,
also
because
feel safe and, happy enough to say, hey, we don't want to do this, or we do
Hmm.
want to do this, or have you thought about this? Like, it's always been a collaboration for us, whether it's porn or not porn.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's like people watching this interview may not be as familiar with some of the terminology and the ideas. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but is that kind of the concept behind what we call ethical pornography?
I mean, that's a really big.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
no,
That's
Yeah,
a
I'm
whole
yeah.
gonna
nother hour-long
I do a lot of
conversation.
talks about ethical pornography. The really, really quick version is that whatever you're consuming is doesn't make something ethical. It's how they're treated on set. So, you know, if they're paid well, they're treated well, they have agency to say no, they are offered safe sex options. That's what makes something ethical, not how glossy it looks. They can be in a dirty mattress in a dirty room having sex if they've consented, being rough and everything. And I think consumers just think ethical means it looks beautiful. And
And I
that's
think
not,
that's not consumers' fault, right? Because like
no.
everything that you stick ethical on, it gets subsumed by people who say, "Oh, this is somehow a higher level. This isn't porn. Porn is trashy and wrong and exploitative. This is ethical porn. So we're not porn. We're like or art porn or something like that." And
But it's the same as film, right? Sorry. Like, you know, art house is always seen here and you have a silly comedy and it's seen here. They're not. They're all forms of art. They're all forms of the same thing.
yeah, and each one can be made unethical.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we don't believe what you portray on screen, whether it's porn or actual anything else, has ethics behind it because it's fiction. So it can have ideas behind it, but like I don't think you should be creating like stories and visual art with the idea that you're ethical. You should treat the people who are involved ethically. But what is ethics when you're trying to deal with ideas? To me, it's unethical to try and teach people somehow that your morals, your framework is the right way to behave. It should open up questions. It shouldn't be preaching, which is why, like, it's a Blowie is a film about sex workers, and we believe that they should have more rights. But actually, the characters are all kind of assholes in a lot of ways,
And then
right?
that's why they're
A little
not
bit, yeah.
the actual actors. They're their names, but they're not them. We just wanted to make them
Yes,
to
because
make
they're all
that.
lovely,
Well,
They're all
but not
lovely.
they are
assholes, and not
beautiful,
us,
wonderful people.
Yeah.
except for one, but we won't name his name.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Stirring the pot.
Yeah. They're all lovely.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
send
we really just wanted to. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Go
send
on.
this clip
Plot
to your
it.
whole cast
Yeah.
and get them talking.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, chef, we hate them. They don't treat us ethically at all."
Yeah.
Geez. Well, Ed and Sam, I could talk to you for another 2 hours about this stuff. It's fascinating. Um, I don't have any specific ideas in mind now, but if we ever figure out a way to do more like a more general panel about maybe how sex is depicted in the horror genre,
Yeah.
could we reach out to you and maybe you could help us out?
Absolutely.
Of
Yeah,
course, we'd love it. We
we
really
need a
appreciate your support as well, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
oh for
Yeah.
sure.
Because like we always knew it'd be a niche film because it's sort of overtly sexual and very queer and a slasher. The Venn diagram doesn't always overlap.
Yeah.
So it's been really heartening to us to find little pockets of people who get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like you think these niches, they feel very small, but then once you start like tapping into them, you realize they're maybe a lot bigger than we realize.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And it
and
makes
I'm
us feel less alone, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
I'm
there are other
very
queer people who like who like weird horror films.
oh for sure. Yeah, I'm very very excited to see the queer horror audience and also just the horror audience at large discover your movie. I
We
think
hope
people are
so.
going to be talking about it. Now, if you want to be found online, before we wrap up, where could people go to learn more about you, about your work?
Yeah, the film itself has blowiethemovie.com as a
Mhm.
website, and altshiftfilms.com is our website. We're also on Instagram and Twitter.
Insta is the best place, which
XX Altshift XX.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, all right, Ed and Sam, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for
Everybody,
talking to us. It's been fascinating.
oh, for sure. Everybody watching, find Blowie on demand right now, and then in the UK.
Yeah, it's on demand in the US on, can I say?
Oh yes.
It's on Google TV and YouTube movies at the moment.
Okay. Perfect. And then
Just type in Blowie.
Yeah. And then next week in the UK, it'll be available, right?
That's
On
right.
DVD.
Awesome. All
Retro.
right. Well, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Sam. And thank you, everybody out in Macabre Daily World. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.